Hello, me and my team member is presenting this project, and our project is Spotify, and my name is Ernie, and we have Ethan, Stanley, Nico, and Trevor. The company background is established in 2008. It is a public trading company. The CEO is from Sweden, and it also based in Sweden. His name is Daniel Egg, and it's a streaming services, and it also has a payment plan or a free tier plan for the music streaming services. And this is the benchmarking analysis. It remained competitive among the main industry players. It is competitive with other streaming services since their plan pricing is competitive, which is $10.99 for Apple Music, Spotify Premium, Tidal, and YouTube Music. But for Amazon, it's $9.99. But overall, it's competitive with other streaming services.
On this slide, I'm going to be doing an internal analysis of Spotify using the VRINE framework. And this will be able to help us decide whether or not Spotify has a sustainable competitive advantage. First, valuable. Spotify is extremely valuable as they have probably the most user data when it comes to behavioral data for how people listen and react with songs compared to any other digital streaming platform. They've been collecting this data for over a decade, which is a lot more than other streaming platforms. And they're also have services in over 180 countries. So that gives them more and more data about how people listen to music in every single part of the world. Second, rare. As I just mentioned, they have data that no one else has. They've been going at this for over a decade, and they have billions and billions of data about likes, song skips, songs that are put in certain playlists. So to get this type of data, it would take years and years and years, which a lot of these other DSPs are far behind, and DSPs are digital streaming platforms. Imitable? No. These algorithms are absolutely impossible for other DSPs to have because Spotify's machine learning has been learning with this data set for so long and with such a large data set that it's almost impossible for any other company to imitate Spotify's algorithms and what they're able to do when it comes to suggesting songs for listeners. Non-substitutable, it is partly substitutable because all other digital streaming platforms have the exact same amount of music. But Spotify has started to get more and more into podcasts and audiobooks, and they also just have better playlist offerings, better editorial playlist, and new features like the AI DJ that are unique. So some things can be substituted, but some mostly can't when it comes to, just some of the cultural parts of Spotify that they've built when it comes to Spotify Wrapped as well. And exploitable, yes, absolutely. Spotify has a steady revenue stream that they invest a lot into making their algorithms better for the machine learning and also research and development to keep people engaged on this service for as long as possible. So overall, this basically gives them a sustainable competitive advantage. The only part that they didn't do perfect on is non-substitutable, but parts of it are non-substitutable.
Here we have our industry description. Spotify operates within the borders of music and audio streaming industry, which has become one of the fastest growing segment in digital entertainment. This industry focus on providing with user instant access to music, podcasts, and audiobooks and other audio content through online platforms. Over the last decade, streaming has replaced traditional music purchasing, making this industry highly competitive and driven by technology, convenience, and personalization. Spotify's major competitors include Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Amazon Music. Each of these companies bring unique strength to the market. For example, we have Apple Music, which leverages and integrates with Apple device and ecosystem. Then we have YouTube, which benefits from YouTube-based music consumption. Then we have Amazon Music, which offer bundles and service with Amazon Prime to attract the subscribers. Because of this, all these platforms are constantly competing to grow and retain their user base. Another important part is that the this industry is that it has expanded beyond just music. Spotify now competes in podcasting, where spoken word content has grown significantly due to the popularity of true crime shows, news commentary, educational programs, and celebrity podcasts. The company has also invested in audiobooks and continues to grow their advertising division, which includes audio ads, tool design for business and creators. Overall, the industry is just defined by rapid innovation, shifted from consumer preference, and constantly pushing to offer new personalized and engaging audio experience. Spotify just has the ability to stay competitive in the music, podcast, and audio and digital advertising plays a big role in this. Just how well the platform will perform within the dynamic landscape.
Starting with the threat of new entrants, this force is moderate. Launching a music streaming platform requires major investment in infrastructure, licensing, and user experience design. The biggest hurdle is negotiating rights with major labels, which is costly and difficult for newcomers. Spotify's scale, data advantage, and long-standing label relationships gives it a strong head start. While large tech firms could still enter, these barriers make entry challenging. The supply power is very high. The three major labels, Universal, Sony, and Warner, control most of the global music rights, which gives them significant leverage. Spotify pays billions each year in royalties, limiting its margins. Even though Spotify has expanded into podcast and independent artist tools to reduce dependence, labels still hold most of the bargaining power. Buyer power is also high. Consumers can easily switch to Apple Music, Amazon, or YouTube Music with almost no friction. Spotify's freemium model increases the power since free users have no cost to leave. Because of this, Spotify has to continually innovate through better recommendation, pricing tiers, and differentiated features to keep users engaged. The threat of substitutes are very high. Because Spotify isn't competing with other music platforms, it's competing with your attention. YouTube, TikTok, podcast, audiobooks, gaming, and even live events all pull the users away from music streaming. Spotify's push into podcast, audiobooks, and strong personalization is a direct attempt to defend against these substitutes. Industry rivalry is very high. Spotify faces aggressive competition from Apple, Amazon, YouTube, each with its own ecosystem of advantages. With growth slowing in mature markets, companies compete for the same users, leading to heavy investment in features, exclusive content, and pricing strategies. Spotify responds by improving in personalization, investing in creator tools, and strengthening in advertising platforms. Overall, the industry is large but structurally tough. Spotify's strength, scale, data, and user experience helps it stay competitive, but the rivalry and supply power remains major challenges. Strategically, Spotify must contain diversifying content, improving monetization, and pushing for a better cost structure through new licensing and creator-focused media.
Hello, I'm presenting the pastel analysis of Spotify, highlighting the external forces that shape its strategic and its risk. So first off, the political factor, Spotify actively engage in politics to influence policy outcomes that affect its businesses. But in recent years, it has spent significant amount on lobbying and made high-profile political contribution. And they try to help them to reduce tariff and easier on the regulatory. And next, the economic factor is it closely tied to macroeconomic conditions such as inflation, interest rate, and consumer confidence. And in 2025, it reported strong revenue growth and healthy margin. But the way it ties to Spotify is that if their economy is good, there's more people signing up for premium services. But when their economic downturn, they will revert back to free tiers. So moving on to social cultural factor, they also spend money on social impact initiative. And for the technological factor, it pushes on the generative AI for personal recommendation and offering a high quality streaming services. For the ecological factor, it trying to achieve zero greenhouse gases emission by 2030. And finally, on the legal factor, it usually get in trouble with the artists and the legal exposure and the importance of right management. And we're going to move on to SWOT.
Hi there. I hope you're having an amazing day. And to whoever's watching this, my name is Nico Reis. I'm currently a senior at Florida Atlantic, graduating this December, specializing in marketing. And today I will be covering the SWOT analysis and business and corporate strategies for none other than Spotify. So let's go ahead and get started here with the strengths. So for strengths, Spotify has the largest global user base in music streaming and benefits from highly personalized features like Discover Weekly and Wrapped. Those tools boost engagement and help differentiate Spotify from its competitors. In terms of weakness, so we can shift our eyes here towards the second box, the biggest issue is the dependence on licensing agreements that limits controls over content and keeps operating costs high. The free tier is also, it also consists of lower margins, primarily because ad supporter users convert to premium at a slower rate, so it takes time to get there. And in regard to opportunities, well, Spotify can continue expanding in podcasts, audiobooks, and emerging markets with rising smartphone adoptions. We've seen this with TikTok. And finally, threats. We can shift our eyes here towards the last box. Threats include intense competition from Apple, Amazon, YouTube Music, which I use, as well as rising royalty fees and regulatory challenges in different countries. As markets mature, Spotify needs to continue in innovation to maintain its leadership. So now I'll be covering the current strategies, which I decided to divide dichotomously into business and corporate strategies. So first, I want to shift our attention towards the business strategy box. Here we can see that the strategy around the business, essentially Spotify, is built on differentiation through personalization. They use machine learning recommendations that study user behavior and automatically tailor playlists to individual tastes, right? So kind of appealing to each individual listener. They also offer AI DJ, which acts as a sort of personalized automated radio host that speaks and mixes tracks for the listener. And every year, features like Spotify Wrapped, the personalized listening recap, create huge engagement that keep users loyal, right? We don't want them deviating from our platform. So all of these tools increase time on the platform and reduce churn. Spotify's freemium model supports this by bringing in large numbers of free users and converting them into paid subscribers through premium features rather than price cuts. So it's kind of a gradual experience that turns into this kind of propitious strategy as time goes on for the average user on Spotify. So now I want to shift our attention towards the corporate strategy where, yes, I know the word corporate can be kind of off-putting, but don't fret. There's nothing off-putting about Spotify's corporate strategy. It's quite brilliant, actually. So at the corporate level, Spotify focuses on related diversification, right? So they've expanded beyond music into podcasts, audiobooks, and even creator tools, which strengthens engagement and reduces reliance on music licensing alone. So kind of spreading out the market. Spotify also invests in exclusive content and creator partnerships and continues to expand globally to grow revenue, right? So they're not just secluding themselves into a box. They're, for the sake of the presentation, thinking outside of the box. So together, these strategies broaden Spotify's ecosystem, deepen user loyalty, and create multiple revenue streams that support long-term growth. Quite brilliant, very simple, but effective.
So under the competitive environment, we recommend Spotify to foster listeners' engagement and to offer more exclusive offering and to use and to leverage their artificial intelligence to offer more of a personalized experience and to convert more free users to paid subscribers.
Just to conclude, our overall analysis of Spotify shows that the company maintains a strong competitive position within the music streaming industry. Despite the facing of competition from major players like Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music, Spotify continues to make themselves different through its highly personalized users experience and its extensive content library and international reach. Our analysis indicates that Spotify is well positioned, but there are clear strategies that can help the company strengthen its leadership even furthermore. One of the most important opportunities lies in expanding the personalization. because Spotify recommendation algorithms are already playing a major role in user engagement. Enhancing on this feature can make the platform even more appealing to both new and existing listeners. Another growth area can be in the recent years, Spotify has invested in exclusive podcasts, artist partnership, and special release. Continuing this strategy can help the company stand out in crowded markets, strengthen its user loyalty. Additionally, increasing the conversion rate from free users to premium subscribers remain priority. By refining the free tier experience and highlight the values of premium features, Spotify could boost its long-term revenue. Overall, the data just suggests that Spotify competitive advantage is strong and recommend strategies from great personalization to more exclusive offering and improving the premium conversions while supporting a long-term growth, helping Spotify sustain its leadership in global streaming industry.